So this is another A4 printer that is used for DTG. So we've tried to start it up, and what we get is only general error over here. This right LED is blinking over here. So first what we have to check is this encoder over here, which we've disconnected, and we've tried to clean it up a bit, but now to get it back inside the printer we will have to remove this cover over here, because so we can look behind the head carrier at an angle, so we can pull through the encoder through the sensor. So we're gonna have to remove all this stuff off the printer, because we wanna get to the, this is the USB cable, we wanna get to the inside so we can have a look at the head carrier also, because we will gonna have to clean the capping station, also maybe the pump, stuff like that. So we have to get the printer out. This is also a printer, it's a similar version like we've shown before, it has its own lifting mechanism inside, and the problem is a bit different than with the first one. So we're gonna try to see where the problem is. So far we get general error, and that's exactly the appropriate word for it, because when it's general it could be a lot of reasons why it is like that. Okay, so now I'm gonna try to open up the printer, and then I will be able to see where I'm putting the encoder. Should be lifting it up a bit just to have some more access. Alright, I'm gonna lift this up. So I need to, after the clean, and this is also something that if you, any kind of printer, doesn't have to be this model, you have to take care of the encoder strip, because if it's not clean you're gonna have a lot of problems with initializing, and also could be problems with the print, could be holes in the print. All of that can happen if the encoder is not clear. I need some light. I think I know what the problem could be over here, because the sensor that is holding the encoder inside is pretty much dirty, and all the complete carrier of the sensor is dirty, has a lot of stuff on it, so we're probably gonna have to check that out also. But let's just see if it's gonna have a little change after we've cleaned the encoder. But to do a proper job, we will also have to clean the sensor behind because it's very dirty. Let's see now if it's gonna start. No, still we have a orange light lighted up, so I'm gonna check in the driver to see if it's still general error or something else, because it is a little bit different than before. But I'm gonna still it wants to cancel. It says we have to cancel all documents, so it is a little bit different, but probably something could be maybe wrong with the motherboard also, and also what we're gonna have to check the cables and the head over here. So that's what we're gonna do a bit later. So we got the reading sensor of the encoder strip over here, and as you can see, it's a pretty messy thing to get to the sensor because it's from behind the head carrier, and as you can see, there's a lot of things that you need to simply tear apart to get to the carrier from behind. So all of these things had to be unplugged. This is the sensor that reads the encoder strip. There's a lot of some kind of I don't know how to call it, web or something like that. So everything here that looks like this, and also here we have to clean that, but especially this sensor we need to also blow off some dust and stuff from inside over here, but also from the outside. So that's what we're gonna do, and we'll try to start the printer once again. Okay, so now I think it did start, and that's a good thing. When I've removed this or placed it, something came out of with this part and didn't stand properly in its position over here, so the head was kind of hitting it over there, so the printer wasn't able to read the encoder properly. When I've moved that out, the printer did start, and also that's we got two informations with that. We know that motherboard is not burned, and also that ciss is functional. Now what else we need to know is ciss clogged? Does everything has flow through it the way it should be? Or if it's not, we're gonna have to replace. I don't think we're gonna have to replace the ciss, but maybe at least some cartridges we're gonna have to move. We're gonna check that out to see how that works. And also we know that some channels do have some flow of ink through it, because we can see the pockets over here moving through the cartridge to the head. But also we're gonna have to check the state of the head, and we will also need to clean this capping station over here, because it's also pretty messy. The wipers are covered with ink and so on. Also, this pipe is not standing really good on its position. It's kind of pulled out a bit, so we're gonna have to fix all this up. But of course, the main thing is to check the head. We can see that on the ciss system it looks pretty clean, but the filters, the air filters, are really not. So maybe we should replace that, but we're gonna check everything and see where else the problem might be. But probably the main thing why it didn't start is this plastic came out of its position somehow, and we are gonna have to fix that in place so we don't encounter any more of these problems. Okay, so the starting or initializing seems to be good, but of course we have to push the air out of the cartridges and fill them properly, because you probably can't see it on the camera, but the cartridges are not filled very well, so we're gonna do that. We have to take out this ciss and we're gonna try to see what's the state of the ciss, if it has any clogs and something like that. But also first thing, we're gonna check the head. We've done already one test print, and it does have all the inks, all the colors on the test, but on the yellow seems a bit palish, so we're gonna wash the head and see if there's gonna be any clogs or not. If it is, but I think the head is pretty much salvageable, just needs a bit of a wash. So you've already seen in previous videos how you do this head replacement, and it's similar with another A6 series printer or older ones, and also quite a few printers with the L series have the similar way of replacing the print head like this. So maybe if you have something similar, or some model that is using this type of head, maybe you can get an idea how it's done. So often you have to pull the cable through the carrier in order to have a manipulation space over here to plug in the cable and so on. So the head is pretty much dirty. It has to be clean, at least from beneath, but also when you clean it from this side, you should be cleaning it 100% while you're at it. So there is residue and stuff that need to be either cleaned, if it's depending on the ink, if it wants to be dissolved in with the alcohol, or simply if it's too stick on the bottom, has to be scraped off like this. Okay, so this is how it should be looking for the most of the time. So we can see that there's been some leakage over here from somewhere. It happens from time to time, so we need to clean that off. If we've dismantled the head, from the printer. So the principle is always the same. Take a little bit of an alcohol, especially if it's a DTG ink. First you pull the ink up, so if there's any bigger particles already in the manifold, you pull them out, and then you take some more alcohol and push it through. So now we're gonna be cleaning the thorns just a bit. All right. Especially if we are dealing with DTG ink. So DTG ink, since it's a water-based ink, tends to lose water or dehydrate from time to time. So we have to be pretty thorough with the cleaning. All right, so now we're gonna take some clean alcohol and let's see how it looks. Black has some cracks, but it's pretty good. After we wash it like this, it's gonna be good. Let's just clean it up a bit from below. Okay, so you can see it gets better and better each time I push the alcohol through. It sprays the curtain better and better. Okay, so this is pretty good now. Black is okay. Let's see what's with the other ones. This would be magenta. It's also full, so that's also good. We need some more alcohol. Next up, yellow. It has one nozzle that is throwing off, but we simply have to wash it up a few times and it's gonna be good. It's okay. And let's see what's with the cyan. Also good. Even better than the previous two, but they're good enough. So we won't have to change the head, but probably what we will be having to do is to fill the cartridges properly again, because with time they lose a level of ink inside them, and to see if we're gonna check if the filters inside the cartridges are okay, if they are not clogged. So now we're gonna put the head back. It's pretty good. It did need a little bit of wash. it's gonna be good enough, and it doesn't need to be changed at this point. Okay, plug it in. Now we're gonna, we might want to clean this up, this inside of the carrier a bit also, because it's quite dirty. Let's see if we are gonna be able to clean something up. So you see, this is also rubberized ink inside. If it's accessible, should be cleaning it off like this. Stuff like this, they need to be removed. Okay. Okay, so it doesn't have to be super clean, but for the most part. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I think we got most of it off. Okay, I think we're good. So now we can put the head back. Same way, just reverse. Okay, that's that. So we have to place in the contacts for the ciss system, and often with this A4 printers you have the cable connected to the side, left side or the right side, in this case left side, and to be able to pull this contact board out, you also need to release to unplug the cable first to be able to lift it up at all. So if you are changing on the head on some A4 printer, be sure to check if the cable is plugged from the side, because usually it is. Some models have a simpler solution, but usually just to get this contacts out, you have to unplug the cable first. And what else is important when you replace the head yourself? Often the people, when they do replacement themselves, they don't put back these cables in their slots, and this is pretty important thing to do. If they're not placed properly in their slots back, so they could be twisted somewhere, and they don't like to be twisted too many times, because then you lose you might break the line, and you might lose the signal that's going through them if you break it by twisting it too much. So usually they left this like this, or maybe even out of this lower slot over there, but when the head is moving, it's gonna be folding on particular places, and that could tear it up, and we certainly don't want that. So we wanna place it back where it was. So now you see when it moves, it's only folding over here in a curve, and then that won't damage the cable if it folds like that. Right, so now we have a ciss, and I've already seen that this I've checked that already, that this magenta filter, air filter is clogged, so we're gonna have to put a new one over there. Others are okay. So let's now try to refill them the way they should be, because I already see that the ones that I can see from the outside are not filled like they should be. So of course, when you're filling that ciss, you have to lift the outside tanks up and place this on a lower level, and you need some paper towels, and so if it gets out when it reaches the top. So now if the filters inside the cartridge are okay, the ink should be moving from the outside tanks to the cartridge. So we're gonna see if that's gonna happen. It's pretty empty over here, or maybe this this larger chamber is only empty and this small one is filled. I don't know. If it is so, we're gonna have to push the ink from the small chamber to the bigger one, but let's see. Maybe it's gonna go. Maybe everything is okay. If it's not, so it's kind of hard to see how much is filled, but this larger chamber is filled like, I don't know, like 30%, and this small is like 50%, and yeah, probably that's what's going on. It's already filled the smaller chamber, so we're gonna have to, but we know that the filter is okay, so we're gonna have to push the ink from the smaller chamber to the bigger one in order to cover the filter inside. Let me just get one syringe. Let's see. So I'm gonna show you how it's done only with one. We don't want to bother you with the whole ciss, but actually it needs to be done with the whole thing. So now I've filled the small chamber over here, and I'm pushing the ink to the bigger chamber in order to, because the entering filter for the whole ciss is inside this bigger chamber over here. So we're gonna try to cover the filter up, and now we have to wait until the small chamber fills again, and we're gonna push that amount of ink through to the bigger chamber. So you already I think we've done that in one video already, so we won't bother you with the whole thing. You just need to see, or we wanted to show you just on one, but if you have this situation with your printer, this is how it's done. So pipe is clogged over here because I'm pulling it through the cartridge, but I can't really pull it out. Let me try something else just to be sure that it's not the problem with the pipe, because nothing really. Oh yeah, the pipe of the yellow is clogged, so maybe the cartridge is okay then. But you see, I cannot pull out the ink out of the pipe, so we're gonna have to do something about that, because this isn't gonna work. Probably what is printed is just printed with ink that is remain in the cartridge, but the tube is clogged over here, so we're gonna have to replace the whole thing on the outside tanks with the new tubes, because they need to be like this. We cannot just change. We could change only one pipe, but they wouldn't fold properly, so we have to change the whole 4 pipes over here in order to get this thing running, because we won't. It's a DTG ink, it's very hard to clean the pipes when they get clogged like this, so not much we can do about it. So we're gonna have to change this outside tanks also. Okay, so at first we thought that the filter is clogged in this yellow cartridge, but it's not so. The pipe over here was clogged, so we ended up replacing the whole whole pipe system with the outside tanks over here. So you can see they're replaced with the new ones. This one is the old. We've moved the ink from one to another, and now we're gonna see what's gonna happen. We're gonna have to try to turn on at least 1 or 2 head cleans. So if the pump is working as it should be. We will also clean the capping station over here, the pipes that go to the pump also. And if we see movement over here, now that the pipes over here from the outside tanks are new, we're gonna know if there's any pressure on the pump, if it works good. So hopefully we'll see that happening. If not, we're gonna have to do some more adjustments, but I think it will be like that. So now this is the initial head cleaning that the printer is starting automatically, but actually we're gonna have to try to make it go into power clean, which has a little more intense spinning of the drum. This is it, and as you can see, the ink is moving to the head through the head cartridges. And I think that's a good sign, but we will try to turn one more just in case, because we already had an alcohol from the cleaning inside the head, so we wanna replace that with some ink. So we will turn on one more, because on these A4 printers it doesn't take so long. Head cleanings are not that long, so it's not like you're gonna be waiting 10 minutes. But there are models that are pretty slow in the head clean, but not the case with this one. So now there is a movement through the pipes over here, but not that much, because we've filled the cartridges 100, almost 100%, so there's not much space for a new ink to come inside, so it just pulls a little bit. But the important thing is that is sucking the ink. So now we're gonna see. So those were the two head cleans. Let's see if it's gonna print something. Let's see if we can get something printed out. As usual, simple CMYK test, not nozzle check. I've already said why shouldn't we be using nozzle checks for this kind of ink. So that's the black seems to be okay. Smudges over here are happening because we actually have to pull the printer a little up a bit, because it's touching the paper over here on the left side. So raised it up. It's okay, so let's see if we're gonna have, the yellow was kinda palish, but I think it's gonna be good now. This yellow over here on the left was the first print that we've made without any cleaning, without pulling the air out, without changing the pipes. And it does look, in reference to that one, it does look a little more alive. So we're probably good there. This is the magenta. It's spraying a bit off because maybe we're a bit too far from the paper. But I think it's gonna be good. Probably needs a couple more head cleans. Let me just lower down the printer a bit more. Yeah, that's height problem that we had over here in the front of the magenta box. Now you can see it's much better, and also the sign seems to be okay. So yeah, I think we are good with this one, and maybe a few minor adjustments we should do, but in most part we are already done with this repair. We should be able to reassemble everything back and run a few more tests, but I think we're good. We can start reassembling for sure. Okay, so we got everything reassembled over here, and one more thing we have to do with the printer is that this plastic piece that came out of its position. So he was enabling the printer to initialize, or let's say read the encoder on the start properly. We're gonna add some fix it with a glue and put it back in its position, and that's gonna be all for this one. So let's see if it's gonna start now that we've placed the piece back. Of course, we've done a couple of more test prints. Everything seems okay. So if it starts properly now, then everything is done with this one. Let's see. Let's just see what's gonna happen. Yeah, so it went for an automatic head clean. Okay, so now the head is above the white plastic piece and everything seems to be okay. And it started properly, so that's it for this one. See you on the next repair or build.